Hi, good morning. It's official. You has been renewed for a fifth and final season coming 2024. And I know that sounds like a long ways away, but get this, it's currently 2023. Crazy, I know. But that's just next year, so we don't have to wait too long. I'm not even upset about it being the final season because one, I feel like the show has about run its course. I don't want it to become one of those shows that goes on so long that the final seasons kind of ruin it a little bit. And two, the creators knowing it's the final season before they make it gives them the chance to wrap it up in a satisfying way. I have a few ideas where season 5 can go, but I'm gonna save the craziest one for last to make you stick around and also because I think you're gonna hate it the most. First, a list of things. One, I don't expect characters like the Salinger PI, Elliot, or Ray Quinn to be a threat to Joe in season 5. I think if anybody manages to take Joe down, it would be Ellie or Marianne, maybe Nadia somehow, or even Kate. Something about that just feels more fitting to me. Two, as I explained in my video on Kate, which I'll link in the description if you haven't seen that and want to check it out, I am going into season 5 with the belief that Kate is sincere and doesn't have any kind of secret evil plan. I know a lot of people disagree with that, but that's how I see Kate going into season 5. 3, I don't have a strong opinion on needing Joe to be killed or imprisoned for life, but I do lean towards thinking he should end up in jail forever by the end of the show because he's a bad guy, and even in fiction, I don't want the bad guy to win. Also, I think the fandom might riot if Joe comes out on top by the series finale. And 4, I'm not a writer, I'm not a great storyteller, this is just for fun, none of it is to be taken too seriously. Alright, so my first theory, Joe's crimes get exposed by an internet sleuth from the Free Dr. Nikki subreddit. Now, I'm not a fan of true crime in real life. I think it's become very exploitative, and some people in the community take things way too far and harass innocent people who are going through awful situations. But I'm also not a fan of murder in real life, and I still enjoy watching it in this fictional show. So I think it could be fun for Joe to be taken down by somebody who got a little too invested in the Free Dr. Nikki subreddit and started to figure things out about him, kind of like how 40 did in season 2. I think it could be interesting for somebody to stalk Joe the way that he stalks others and actually piece together a chunk of what he's done throughout these last 4 seasons. Obviously, I don't expect anyone to find out about Jasper or the real Will, but there is a lot that could be connected to Joe if you do a whole bunch of digging and conspiratorial theorizing. Though I don't know exactly how they would get around Kate's ability to control the narrative and tie up all of Joe's loose ends in order to bring his crimes to light. But maybe through the events of season 5, they show her the truth of who Joe really is, revealing that he didn't tell her everything about his past in the hospital scene in season 4, and she realizes that he is the bad thing, he is worse than her father, and she takes him out once and for all for the greater good. This could mean that she has him killed or thrown in jail for the rest of his life, but I think if she blindsided him and he felt betrayed by her, that would make it even better. My next theory is a little bit of a stretch, but throughout season 4, Kate calls Joe Sherlock and detective a few different times, and that's got some people talking about like Sherlock and Moriarty. So let me read this little excerpt from the wiki for the BBC Sherlock show. Moriarty was obsessed with Sherlock Holmes and appeared to enjoy his role as a villain. Moriarty, like Sherlock, was willing to do anything to stop himself from getting bored. He was capable of frightening mood swings. He was ruthless and committed torture and murder in sadistic ways, and when Sherlock accused him of being responsible for people's deaths, Moriarty screamed at him, "That's what people do," indicating that he didn't care if people lived or died. So this doesn't exactly fit with my idea that Kate is good going into season 5, but what if the roles are reversed and Kate is Sherlock and Joe is Moriarty? So Joe spends season 5 being like a villain and kind of controlling Kate's life a little bit behind her back, kind of like her father did, but then also just going off and doing whatever he pleases, not caring about the ethics or the morals of it anymore, because we know he's embraced that dark part of himself. I can very much see that him and Kate keeping each other good would get really boring for Joe. So he's gonna find some way to keep himself entertained. And it's not gonna be good. I think it would be a change up from season 3 where Joe was trying to be good, but love kind of pulled him back into that badness by killing Natalie and attacking Gil. So in season 5, Kate would be good and Joe would be bad, but unlike Love, he's not going to pull Kate into it. He's just going to be on his own, kind of keeping it secret. But from that same wiki about the short story, The Adventure of the Final Problem, here's how Moriarty dies. Listen to this. It is all too clear that during the fight that took place between Holmes and Moriarty, both fell to their deaths down the waterfall. The Moriarty gang are all convicted on the strength of evidence secured by Holmes. Watson ends his narrative by saying that Sherlock Holmes was the wisest man he had ever known. Okay, so how about this? Kate catches on to Joe, but she understands that confronting him won't do anything but put her in danger, so she starts collecting evidence of all his season 5 crimes. By the end of the season, Kate and Joe kill each other, maybe in a way that requires Kate to sacrifice herself in order to take Joe out. And then Cynthia and whoever else might have helped to cover up Joe's crimes in season 5 are in jail thanks to evidence that Kate left behind. And I don't know, maybe Kate has like another famous friend and they make sure that everyone knows that she's the one that took down this monstrous serial killer even though it cost her her life. And finally, my last idea for season 5, what if Joe runs for mayor of New York City? Okay, I probably lost a few of you there, but hear me out. In season 4, Joe admires Reese, right? When he has Marianne at his apartment, he tells her about Reese, saying he's made some mistakes, he's done some bad things, but he's changed, and now everyone wants him to run for mayor. I'm just saying, he kind of inspires me. Sure, he might just mean that in the way that Reese overcame his past and became a respectable man, but what if he yearns not just for respect, but for power? So Joe's back home in New York City with Kate at his side, and I can imagine him portraying himself as a good man who's overcome a difficult childhood and escaped a marriage to a troubled woman, and now he just wants to help his partner change the world by running for political office. You know, a good man in a cruel world. I think in this storyline, he could use Kate's resources to fund his campaign running for mayor, and in public, everything might seem above board, but behind the scenes, don't worry, there's gonna be murder. And how do I know this? Well, 1, it's Joe. But 2, when Joe is having an imaginary conversation with Reese at his flat in season 4, Joe says, "You can't just murder your way into office." And Reese says, "Well, that's really for the voters to decide." But that's Joe. That's Joe's sentiment expressed through Reese. That's what Joe thinks. And now he's embraced that part of himself by the end of the season. So Joe runs for mayor, kills some people along the way, and maybe Kate doesn't know, but Cynthia does, and she helps cover for him just as she did for Tom. But come on, it's the last season, so Joe can't actually win, right? All right, well, here's the most ridiculous part. The thing that finally turns the voters against Joe is that he kills somebody in the middle of Fifth Avenue. I'm sorry. Is that not funny? I think it's funny, and I think it's referential enough to fit in with the show. Better than that COVID reference they tried to squeeze into season 3. And I mean, I looked it up. That street is in New York, and I think the reference would just speak to how arrogant Joe has become in season 5. So maybe not all of Joe's crimes come to light, but I think such a bold murder could be the straw that breaks the camel's back and finally shows Kate that Joe is not capable of being good. And with the help of Cynthia, they kind of like team up to expose all of Joe's crimes from season 5 and get him thrown in jail for life. 2 of these 3 scenarios end with Joe in jail for life because I think death would be too easy. Not that it would be easy to accomplish killing him, but it would just be an easy way out. If he's dead, he's dead. That's it. But if he's in jail, there's potential for him to suffer. And what was it I said? And I'll admit, I like seeing Joe suffer. And for all that he's done, some kind of punishment has to be involved. Being locked up with nowhere to go, nobody to obsess over, and no chance of being loved might be the worst fate for him. But what do you think? Would you prefer he dies or goes to jail forever? Or would you prefer he gets away with it all? And if so, how the heck did you make it so far into this video? Let me know your season 5 theories in the comments, even if they involve Kate being evil, because I am willing to be open-minded even though I really want her to be good. Also, I'm going to be working on more videos about other shows and movies and branch out from the You content a little bit. So if you have any suggestions for shows or movies I should check out, feel free to leave those in the comments as well. Be sure to like and subscribe. Please and thank you.
Goodbye, you.